because I think I'm good. My brother right here, you know? And I wake up to the hardest pinch on my nipple. Like, the hardest fucking pinch. Like, pinching the shit out of it. And, like, I wish I could explain to y'all what was going through my head in that moment, but I knew that I was either gonna pew pew him or pew pew myself. I knew I had to, I knew that was it. Like, that was the last straw for me. So I remember I got up and he was still attached. Like, his fingers were on it. And I remember standing up and like pulling away from his fingers. And I woke up my grandparents. I was banging on their door and I woke up my grandparents. And I remember my granddaddy, he's not the type that likes to be woken up in the middle of the night, but this is the one time he didn't even look upset, because I know he could see in my face that whatever it was urgent. And I told them everything. I mean, I just told them everything. I told them from start to finish. I told them everything. I told them how he wouldn't do it in a very specific place because he said I couldn't take it there, that he would do it in ANAL. He would do it like that, and it hurt. He would make me like bleed. It was bad. Like, and I told them everything. And they immediately called my parents, right? Now, any normal parents would have been right on the first flight home, right? Any normal parents would have been right on the first flight home to take care of their baby. Any normal parents. But my parents, my dad specifically said, we'll take care of it when we get back. So my grandparents bought a ticket to Arkansas where his father lived, and they sent Earl on his way because my parents said not to call the police about it and not to do anything like that about it. And so they just wanted him the fuck out their house. So they bought him a ticket to go to his dad's house. Now, my parents come back from Puerto Rico like a week later. All just acting like nothing, like nothing happened at all. Like, how is this happening? And I remember bringing it up to my mom, and I remember her saying, well, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to call the police? Like, what do you want us to do? And like, just well, what do you want us to do? I want you to fucking be a mom. I want you to fucking be a dad. I want you to fucking be a parent. Like, why are you asking the kid? Why are you asking the kid, what should we do? You tell me. Like, I've been dealing with this on my own this whole time. You do something for once. Do something. So my mom said that we could go up to the office the next day. My gram came with us, and we went up to the office, and I pressed charges against him. Well, apparently he was already serving time in Arkansas for something else that he did we didn't know about. He was serving time in Arkansas. When they sent him back to Arkansas, the police caught up with him there, and they ended up putting him in jail there. So he had to finish his sentence there before he could come to Texas to do his time in Texas, right? So at this point, I'm 15 years old, right? I just started really getting into BMX biking. I was skateboarding. I loved skating and everything like that. And I was really big on not getting handouts. I like to earn my, my keep and shit. So I wanted these pegs for my bicycle, and they were $10 at Walmart, the pegs. I don't know if they're like that now, but the stainless steel pegs at Walmart used to be $10. So I knew I just needed to mow 2 lawns for $5, right? So, sorry, I'm having to switch. My legs are giving out. Hold up. Okay. Anyways, I wanted these pegs for my bike. So I was at my grandparents' house and I asked my granddad if I could mow his lawn for $5. And then I asked his neighbor if I could mow his lawn for $5. His neighbor was this older black man named Tommy. They both said yes. I mowed my granddad's first, got my $5, mowed Tommy's lawn, and then I knocked on his door and he was like, come in. He told me to come inside. And I remember he walked like inside his house. You could walk in. It was one of those houses you could walk into the kitchen and then out of the kitchen in the dining room, and you'd end up back at the front door. Like it was like a loop. So he walked in and I'm following, thinking that I'm going where the money is, and he goes around to the door and locks it and stands in front of the door. And then he pulls down his pants and he said, here's your payment. I remember laughing, like, because I thought it was funny. But he wasn't kidding. And then when I tried to run, he chased after me until I ran against this like shelf thing that had a vase on it, and I literally fell onto the vase and it cut my leg open right here. You can still see the scar. Hold on. I don't know if y'all can see that scar. I landed on it on my knee and it cut it open. Anyways, he tried to address like the issue. He put something on my leg and everything, and then he was like, he said, come out here with me, and he took me to his front porch and he made me sit down on his front porch. He was sitting closest to the door. Now he had a hedge on his front porch. There's a front porch and then there's a hedge. You can't go anywhere except back this way to where the front door is and then down the little step. Like there's a hedge right here. So he made me sit over here and he sat here, and as he rubbed on my thigh, he very politely told me all of the things that he could do to my grandmother, to my grandfather, to me. He said that even if he got locked up, there's many people that would do it for him. He told me that he knew where my grandmother kept her, and he said the exact firearm, the exact name of the exact firearm, because they're friends. Like they're always like he helps them all the time. He helps my grandparents all the time and everything. And so he was saying how he knew exactly where her weapon was and all this stuff, basically trying to scare me into not telling anybody anything. And I told him, I said, I won't tell anybody anything. I said, I really just want my $5. And he started laughing, and then he slipped his hand like right into like the belt loop part of my pants, and my grandmother pulled into the driveway. So I stood up really fast because I was hoping his hand would get caught in the pants and she would see it. So I didn't tell on you, she just saw it, you know what I mean? Like, and so like I stood up and the hedge was literally like right here, like covering. It was like I was just like almost tall enough, but it was like right there. And my grandmother was like, hey, she said, hey to Tommy. She's like, what are y'all doing? And he was like, oh, nothing. He's getting his payment for mowing my lawn. And like I looked at my grandmother, and I remember like giving her like a specific kind of like look, and she called me over there. She was like, come here. And so I went over there, and I knew I couldn't tell her because I was too afraid of him, like, but she could see it in my eyes. She knew something was wrong, and she kept asking me for the longest time, like, what was that about? And I never told her, until one day. Now this is the day that I decided to press charges against Earl. When I came out about Earl, I said everything to the police officers. I told them everything. So because I was under 18, they did a deposition instead. They put me in front of a camera with a guy in the room, and they made the guy question me about all the details of all the incidences, and so it would be on record. And they were supposed to use that video in court when the trial came. I was not supposed to or have to see either one of those men again. I didn't have to see them. That's why they did the video. So Earl was already in jail, Earl was already in jail, so we had to wait for Earl's time to be up in Arkansas for him to be brought to Texas. Meanwhile, Tommy, because of his age and because of his lawyer, his lawyer got it to where he kept making certain doctor's appointments and certain things that got him out of having to go to court. He had a really good lawyer, and they like manipulated the system and got him out of it so many times, so he didn't have to go to court, right? Keep in mind, all this happened. I'm 15 when I went and pressed these charges, right? Now let's fast forward. I get sick as fuck. I go to Children's Hospital. I'm in Children's Hospital for 4 months straight on a morphine drip, already dealing with all this trauma, all this shit, and they put a 15-year-old on a morphine drip. I have my first seizure at that hospital on that morphine drip. When I get out of the, when I got out of the hospital, literally, trying to remember what made me just leave. Oh yeah, so remember I told y'all I had like traveled a lot. I don't know if I told y'all that or the women that were in here earlier asking me, but I had traveled a lot. The first chance I got to leave the house, I left. When my parents split up when I was 15 turning 16, they split up. I had went right before they split up to visit California. My mom and my brother went and we all visited California. I met a guy named William Larson. He worked at ASCAP, and they really wanted to work with me, yada yada. I didn't know that they had contacted me. So fast back forward, I'm in the hospital for those 4 months. I'm going through my emails on my phone. I see an email from Julian, which worked with William Larson, and they said, hey, we want to fly you to California for a week to get in the studio to see if we vibe, and if so, we want to sign you. I signed out of the hospital. I left the hospital. I packed my shit up and I went to California, right? So when I got to California, I was there for a week. Everything went smooth. Everything went well. They wanted to work with me. That last week I was there, I ended up getting hospitalized. So instead of being there for 1 week, I was there for 3 weeks. I thought it was gonna like affect their business relationship and them wanting to work with me, but unfortunately it didn't. They made me make an agreement that as long as I was signed with them, I would go to therapy. That was the agreement. So I get home, I pack up all my bags, I get ready, I say my goodbyes to my family and everything like that, and I get the fuck out of Texas, and I go to California. So fast forward a little bit, I've been signed, I've been in California, I've been going to therapy, yada yada, all this and that. That's the first thing that happened. I get a call from my mom. And my mom said that she had gotten a call from the district attorney. Yeah, she got a call from the district attorney's office saying that Earl was done with his whatever and that he was in Texas about to face trial for the case. And my mom said, because you're 17 now, she said, and because you're at a legal age to be able to be in court, they want you to come to court. And she was like, what do you think about that? And I told her, I was like, I told her I needed a minute, to think about it and everything like that. And so we got off the phone and I called her back like a couple of days later with my answer. My answer was yes, like I'll be there in court. I'll be there in court, just tell me the date and I'll be there. And my mom tells me, oh, well, I already dropped it. And I said, what do you mean you dropped it? You dropped what? You dropped the years and years I've been waiting to put somebody away for what they did to me? You let it, like what? You did what? She was like, yes, she said that she didn't want me to have to go through that in court. So she took it upon herself to drop the charges, which she, as my guardian, because I'm under 18, could legally do. So she dropped the fucking charges. Now, since we're on the subject of Earl Barnabas, fuck trying not to tell me and everything like that. And I overheard so much shit, and I figured it out that they were all, hi, go ahead. I figured out that they were all being, they were all being summoned by him. So his request was for me, a character witness, in some charge that he already previously had. He wanted me to go to court on his behalf to put in a good word for him so that he wouldn't go to prison for the rest of his life for doing